What do you think about the conversation of Bristol getting cut down to one date?
I don't know. I don't see it happening. I couldn't imagine not having two Bristols. Um, to me, you just got to fix the car.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. It's a race car thing. Like, that's the biggest problem with this sport is the race car. And I feel like they killed it, and then they almost had it back in the Gen 6. And then when they started to cut the horsepower out again, that kind of started us back down the hill. And then they introduced the next gen car, and it's been an uphill climb or battle. It's not been climbing uphill. It's just been a battle ever since then. That has largely been saved by Goodyear, who's getting all the grief. Oh, tracks need less dates. No, they don't. You need a better race car.
Yeah.
That's what this comes down to. It's a better race car would fix so many of your problems. Well, you're not going to get a better race car because we've invested so. I don't care. Fix it.
Yeah.
Like, you're literally bleeding your investment dry because of the car.
Following is a production of The Garage Area.
Welcome into the Garage Area. This is our post-Bristol show. I stopped calling it a recap show because I feel like we're really not recapping the race. I was thinking about that today. That's kind of the premise that I started this with back when it was up to speed. Just be like something quick that somebody could listen to and know what happened during the race weekend. We've kind of moved away from that. I don't know if that's something that people would want or not, but I don't know. We've really morphed this into something totally different than that now. But yeah, it is the post-Bristol show. We saw Christopher Bell win the truck race, Connor Zilisch win the O'Reilly Series race, and then yesterday, unfortunately, Ty Gibbs got his first win in the Cup Series race. We'll talk about some of all of it. Let's get our picks just out of the way. Unfortunately for me, again, not only do I despise Ty Gibbs as a person, as a race car driver, as a human being, all of that, you picked him to win. And beyond that, I wanted him coming into the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I just got the bad luck of the draw that I won the previous week, and then you got to pick first going into Bristol. And I had to sit on that for a whole week, too, being like, oh, Ryan's got Ty Gibbs at Bristol. And I ended up with Austin Cindric, who ran in the top 10 most of the day and then just plummeted through the field at the end. I don't know why. I'm not sure where he ended up. He ended up 16th, which isn't as bad as I thought. I'm sure he didn't score me hardly any points. But obviously, Ty Gibbs ends up getting the win. That's the second pick that you had this year that has won, picking Denny Hamlin to win at Las Vegas as well. So I'm down bad right now.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can scroll down here to the points. I'm 79 points. Is that accurate?
Yeah, should be.
I'm 79 points behind you.
Yep.
And our average finishes are very minimally different.
Yeah.
I'm on the left. I got to scroll all the way back up.
Denny Hamlin with the stage points on his win, really.
The average finish, I have a 12.625, and you've got a 12.25. Very minimal difference there, and I'm losing by 79 points because of the wins that you ended up with.
The wins also, yes.
And the stage points like you talked about. Just brutal. And I ended up with a couple guys in our Sunday morning picks to win races, but that counts for nothing.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be last year. This was a terrible idea by me to end up switching the competition up like this to where you got to pick everybody off the list. How much do you enjoy that, though? Do you like the strategy part of it?
I actually do.
Yeah, I figured you would.
I mean,
it probably helps when you're winning.
It does. I think so. I'd be a little more frustrated probably, but yeah.
You know when Brent Cruz got out of the car after the O'Reilly race Saturday night, and he said that the worst thing to do is to lose to Connor?
I didn't happen to hear it.
So I'm not even going to recap. That's what happened.
Yeah.
He got out of the car and said that the worst part about finishing where he did was that Connor won the race. And I think that not only is it just painful that Ryan Blaney didn't win the race, because I do really like Blaney. I don't think that you should have first, second, and third favorite drivers, but Blaney, I guess you could say for me, is the second favorite driver. And for him to come up short there is disappointing. The fact that one of my two most hated drivers in the entire series of NASCAR ends up winning the race is another brutal hit. and then
I picked him.
you picked him on top of that. And I wanted him
Yeah.
because I thought that he really had a chance to. That's really what's irking me here. It's not like you pulled out, oh, I'm going to save Ty Gibbs for Bristol and see if I can get a top 10 out of him. It was like I actually thought he could run well, and you ended up with him. Just killer. Killer stuff. Um, so that nails down our picks for this week. Next week, we're going to end up going to Kansas. Does the season officially start now that we go to Kansas? Or do you think it has started already?
I think we've started at Vegas even back then, so
Yeah.
Phoenix, Vegas. So
Okay. I'm not arguing with that. I just see people that want to have that argument a little bit. Boy, Watkins Glen is a lot earlier this year, isn't it? I mean, it wasn't necessarily last year, was it?
yeah, I think I remember. I don't. It's been a while since I looked at it. But
That just caught me off guard
yeah,
as I was looking at the schedule here.
wasn't it was in the chase or the playoffs last year or the year before even. So
Yeah. It's normally like August,
yeah,
but anyways, that's coming up here shortly. I guess I do remember that being a pretty decent storyline coming into the season. But yeah, Kansas is up next. Um, I guess I'm gonna end up being the one that has to pick first. I'm looking at my list of drivers that I have available. I've used Cindric, Bubba Wallace, who I would consider here at Kansas. Hocevar, who looks like he's probably also going to get a win here at some point. Boy, Cody Ware was still, I took him off the list early. Bummer. Uh, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch. I cannot believe that I bothered using a Kyle Busch. The Cody Ware pick actually makes more sense than Kyle Busch.
yeah.
Uh, William Byron, which he stunk yesterday.
I mean, you used Kyle at Coda, so that was probably the best place if you had to use him was to use him there. So
Yeah, but I'm not sure I had to use him.
I see your point also.
um, do you have? This is a bit of a sidetrack before I make my pick. Do you have like when we go to one of these road courses and I take SVG? Because even if you get them and you win with them, I'm obviously taking them the next road course you
Yeah.
go. Do you have like a secondary driver that you're going? That's where I'm going to use him at.
Um, I have a couple guys in mind. You texted me last night, and I thought I had a guy in mind. He's one of the ones I kind of wanted to use at the road course also. So,
Mm.
um,
But that's like you could look at a Connor Zilic, like you've already used him.
yeah,
You used him at Coda?
yep,
Yeah. Which makes sense. I mean but like a Connor Zilic could be somebody that you could make as a secondary pick. Chris Buescher's kind of a dark horse at something like that. AJ Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, guys like that
yeah,
I think are good secondary picks to maybe score you some points. Um, maybe
maybe Suarez even.
Yeah, maybe if I got real adventurous and I was desperate, I could use an Alex Bowman there. I'm hoping to not use him at all. Um, I don't think Hendrick's going to use him all year either. But that back on track here, I think that I am going to use. Make sure I've got him. Make sure I've got him. I'm taking Tyler Reddick for Kansas. I think that's a solid pick. I'm not. I didn't look even to see where he normally runs at Kansas, but I think that's the heater that he's been on this year, and he still ended up where did he end up at Bristol? Fourth. So it seems like every time that they go to the racetrack every weekend, they're a top five team every week. So
Well, I just realized the pick I had in mind I already used, so
who are you gonna
I was
take?
going to take Larson.
Oh,
And I was thinking about maybe because he was good at Sonoma, so I was like, if you had SVG there, I was going to say Larson for Sonoma because I
mm.
think he's won there and finished second to SVG and stuff. So I got to completely rethink this on on the spot. I didn't even realize I'd used him already.
Yeah, I'm lucky that I've still got Lart. I've got a few. I got most of my big names left because I got Chase Briscoe still. I haven't used him, and he's run relatively well. Chase Elliott, which you could debate whether that's a big name or not. Christopher Bell, uh, Joey Logano. Again, you could debate if that's a big name. Um, Kyle Larson still. Ryan Blaney still. And maybe you could put Ty Gibbs in that category of somebody that is could get you a good finish now too. Maybe I should have used him this week now. But I'm sticking, obviously. I've already made the pick with Tyler Reddick. Coming up with anybody over there?
Yeah, give me Carson Hocevar.
Hocevar, taking the Hurricane of
Yeah.
Kansas.
Maybe I'll take I don't know. He's kind of the wild card. He could go real good or real bad.
Well, that's the thing. It's not surprising if he runs in the top 10
Yeah.
anymore. But again, that a lot of those tracks have been the oddball tracks. I don't know where he ended up at Vegas or if we've been to any other. That's really the only track we've been to that is normal.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll be curious to see how he shakes out there. Um, but he definitely run well at some of the other oddballs. All right, so I got Tyler Reddick. You got Carson Hocevar. Let's see who we end up, who ends up finishing a little better this week. I actually think that at least Reddick is a definite pick for the actual win of the race.
Yeah.
And I think that Hocevar could definitely be a top 5 car.
I know where I want to take Reddick. So
Where
uh
I'm using them, so it's not like
yeah.
here.
Homestead.
That's fair. I think that's
I have
probably.
two guys for that. I'm saving for that just in case. Well, I could already get Reddick, but I have another guy too I'm thinking about, but that's probably where I'll use him up.
I almost wonder if we should have done something to where like you took the big names, argued up, figured out how you did, like how you categorize those guys as the big name drivers, and then just like a draft, take turns and figure out which driver you were taking at each racetrack,
Yeah.
like at the very beginning of the year, and then you had to fill in the blanks from there. You
Yeah, I know
understand
what
what I
you're
mean?
saying. Yeah.
That would have been interesting. Maybe we should do that. Nah, I don't think so. I was gonna say you should have to set your whole lineup to start the year.
Yeah.
That would be interesting right there to see how you end up.
Yeah.
Instead of picking week to week, you got to pick it at the beginning of the season. That would be interesting. Anyways, I still have I still have Christopher Bell on the board, and I considered taking him at Bristol, and that's where I'm actually glad I ended up with the uh, Austin Cindric pick because Bell had a terrible day. Where did he end up?
Like 4 laps down. I remember that.
27th. Can you imagine if I used up a big gun pick like Christopher Bell at Bristol and he ended up 4 laps down in 27th? That would have been just brutal. And
Well, that happened to me with Larson. That's why I forgot about him.
what
He
happened?
broke a toe link at Darlington on the final run.
Yeah, but he was running well when that happened, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Like he was in the top 10
Top
somewhere.
10, yeah.
And then it just all fell apart there at the end.
You can say the same thing Christopher Bell. He was running right up front until they got a speeding penalty or whatever it was.
But that was early on in the race though, wasn't it? Let's see.
It just put him in the back of the pack, and I think that's when he pressed too hard and it went downhill from there.
Yeah, because I had Denny at Darlington. He ended up 11th. Some great data input here by you in this whole. I love this chart.
The other thing I thought I'd put on a chart is the points each driver got next to where we kind of got our crossed out there. Like what our head-to-head driver points are. Because it's interesting, if we all use the same drivers and
How much they scored.
they scored head-to-head, in the end, the math will still be the same. But like with Denny Hamlin, I don't remember how many points you finished with Denny Hamlin, but like my Denny Hamlin pick far outreached your Denny Hamlin.
Well, yeah, he won the race.
Yeah.
And mine finished 11th.
But,
Yeah, I agree.
like Bubba Wallace, you outpointed me there with like a few different drivers. You outpointed me, but that big gap from the other ones is kind of
It would
interesting.
be an interesting statistical anomaly to see how that's all shaken out as far as you're obviously doing well with the big names. Am I doing well with the lower tier
Yeah.
guys? Yeah, that's a good point. It'd be kind of interesting to see like a pitcher. Oh, he's got a great fastball, but his slider stinks. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Something like that. Given attributes to abilities to pick. All right. Boy, we really kind of drug through
Yeah.
that section of this year. Let's move right to the rating of the race. Bristol race. Let me tell you the things that I'm considering in this. It's Bristol. We can talk about the actual racing at the track, but I have an expectation or a preference at least of what I want to see for the racing at Bristol. It's the next gen car. I've never gotten that kind of racing that I want out of the next gen car. And the tires are just a big X factor. And I think that I saw some tire wear, but it like rubber went onto the racetrack, but I didn't see a lot of tire fall off.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the downside to that. Like wear is great, but I need them to fall off in speed. And I think that's kind of where this race fell short for me. Overall, I didn't think the race in its entirety was bad. I liked that there was a couple different lanes that you could use. Um, the one wasn't as effective as the other, but you could run both. It's really frustrating to see, a car that's faster try to use the bottom and they just can't get by the guy on the top, or vice versa, whatever the case is. But that's a product of the race car, I believe, rather than the track or the tires. So all things taken into consideration, I guess I'd give it a 6.
Yeah, I'm pretty close there. I just thinking 6.5. The first half of the race, I think when everyone was glued to the bottom, I felt like made the race boring because track position mattered so much. Them guys come out. Well, Chase Elliott and Josh Berry, they stayed out under that one caution with it. I think stage one even. And although Chase, once he got back in traffic, he started falling back there at the end of the run. But with them older tires, Josh Berry finished top 10, got stage points. Once he was up there until I think he got caught up in an incident. And, but once he was in the top 10, he stayed in the top 10 until he got wrecked.
Barry, you're saying?
Yes.
Barry got wrecked by Noah Gregson.
Yeah, that's right. I couldn't remember by
I think it was Gregson. He got wrecked by, I think, a front row car.
Yeah. And, in the end, Todd Gilliland, you know, he was on 2 tires maybe at the end of that run.
I think he stayed out. He stayed
know,
out and then
stayed out, then took 2 tires.
That might be. You might be right. Yeah.
But
stayed up for the position.
yeah. So he got a 6th place finish, and of course Ty Gibbs stayed out on that final one.
94 lap older tires.
So obviously the restarts hurt, but I mean Ty Gibbs being the leader is what helped his restart on the older tires. Ryan Blaney would have eventually got him, I think, but he needed another lap too probably. But that was my only qualm with the race was the tires. I kind of like how 2 lanes were working. Some guys were faster on the bottom, some guys were faster up top. Kind of watching cars spread around on a half-mile track like that, I think is neat. I don't think you just have to have bump and run racing to make it great racing. Getting emotions flared up and things like that. But just kind of wish the tires wore out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Had different fall off.
Did you vote in the good race poll?
Yeah.
What'd you give it?
I gave it a yes, a good race.
For you, is it, for me, the thing is like, is it over a 5.5 for me? That's where I'll vote yes. Because I was real on the fence as to whether I vote yes or no. But ultimately I said yes. So you consider it in that similar vein?
Even though I wish tires mattered more, I think the finish was exciting. I think the final stage, the last half of the race, when the track spread out and guys could pass each other. I know people says, well, you can't pass. Of course, I kind of just made that argument about the first half of the race. But once the track widened out, Ryan Blaney pit crew put him back half the top 10 every time, and he made it back to the front. So I don't think that's a super great argument, but to me, there's still work that needs to be done, but I still think it was a decent race.
To be fair, fast cars, and Blaney was the best car. He should have been able to pass no matter what. Yeah, just for the reference of the Gluck poll, it's currently sitting at a 67% yes. I think that's I listened to a podcast where the guy asks the questions to his wife ahead of time, who he feels is not as well versed on the topic as the people in the room, and he calls it the index. His wife's name is the index, and if she typically gets half as many right as the winner of the game. So I'm calling this the Gluck poll index, because I feel like where the yes votes end up, if you were to break that down to a number, that's typically where we feel that whether the race, where it rates out at. So if being a 67%, you said 6.5, I said 6. The poll is technically a little higher than that, but it's right in the same ballpark. So that I feel like I had that number in my head of 6 before I ever saw the poll. And I feel like it's kind of a good measure. I'm not basing my opinion off of it. It's just like how I feel about it as a fan seems to line up with how the other fans felt. And if I was way off on that, I wouldn't care either, because it's still my opinion. But that kind of makes me feel like I'm at least up to speed with what people are seeing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess we'll talk a little bit here about how do a couple questions. I actually saw it as a spot on, spot off question on Twitter from Door Bumper Clear. Ty Gibbs wins another race this year. You think he does?
I think he will.
Or just one more?
I say one or two more at least. Um, sometimes once the driver breaks through and gets that first win, it's kind of like a weight off your shoulders. It seems like maybe Chris Gabehart was a weight off his shoulders too, how he's been running this year. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but it felt like ever since this lawsuit stuff started, Ty Gibbs has been outperforming his performance last year. So I think he's going to be one of the better. I mean, I think all these Joe Gibbs drivers are going to be running up front.
Let me ask you a question. I'm big into the conspiracies, and I'm trying to cope any way that I can with the fact that Ty Gibbs won a race. Denny Hamlin, arguably one of the best drivers at Bristol, right?
Yeah.
He finished ninth. Do you think that they just dumped all their resources in the 54 car for this weekend? Because a couple weeks ago, when Brad Keselowski hosted the Dale Jr. Download, he said that they did that at Penske during the playoff era. Of once a car was locked in, all the resources went to the other cars. Do you think that's a possibility that Ty Gibbs got all the resources going into Bristol, knowing that it was his best track, trying to get him a win, and kind of during this whole lawsuit thing, shove that in Gabehart's face?
I don't think so. I wouldn't say that, but um, I think everyone
He was
knows.
good all day. It's not like that
Yeah.
staying out is what got him. I mean, it did get him the win because
Yeah.
Blaney was the best car, but Gibbs ran third, fourth most of the day. Like
Yeah.
he was up there.
I think even Hamlin ran top five most of the day, but
But that's you don't think Ty Gibbs is better at Bristol than Denny, do you?
I would put him on par because I think Ty Gibbs could have won a race there a couple of years ago had the tires. You know, Ty Gibbs led I think the most laps a couple of years ago there when the one of the tire races or
Hmm.
whatever they kept going down and whatnot. So um, I think Ty Gibbs is going to be a force to be reckoned with at Bristol anytime we go there.
I hate that you said that.
that's that's why I saved Ty Gibbs for Bristol. So I felt like
I did too.
yeah.
That's just it's a bummer. Um, mm, um, I don't even know where I'm going with this. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Bristol is his best racetrack. I know that the fact that he's running well at other tracks is what makes me believe that there's possibility he could win other races.
Yeah.
But part of this also feels like an Alex Bowman win to me. Like Bowman in a Hendrick car runs in the top 10 with some regularity. I mean, he's always like barely making that playoff cut in years past. I think that, you know, there's not enough body of work for me to believe that Ty is going to run well all year, but nothing that I've also seen so far this year makes me think that he won't either. So I'm kind of in that space of it's possible. If he continues to run like he is, I think he'll win more races.
Yeah.
Uh, if this is his hottest point of the year and he's got a win now and things kind of regress to the mean, if that makes any sense, I don't know if he will get another win this year. I think he'll run top five in a lot of races. I think that he'll be in position to win, but it's that consistently being able to win is a difficult thing. It's not out of the realm of possibilities that he could win 5 races this year the way that he's running. I don't know. I certainly don't want to see that. I hope that doesn't happen. Um, but I don't know. How do you feel about Ty Gibbs as a driver? I mean, I'm very opinionated, but you haven't said a whole lot about him. Look, forget about as a driver, but as somebody you would root for.
I would never really. I rooted for him this weekend only because
Because
I
he's your
picked him.
pick.
But as a like as a driver, I think he's a decent driver. But as a person, someone to root for, I wouldn't. I don't think I could ever be a fan of Ty Gibbs.
So we both saw the tweet from Couch Racer that said that people are complaining that he had a silver spoon path, and that you could say the same for Dale Jr. and Chase Elliott. There are guys that have had opportunities in NASCAR that were there because of a family or money of some
Yeah.
kind. There's a balance here with Ty to me because I don't think he doesn't have any talent. I do think that he's a good race car driver. I guess you look at the Dillon brothers when they came up through the Truck Series and the O'Reilly Series, they won everything in those RCR cars in those series. But that's where all the money was. Like, they had the best cars week in and week out. And they won races, they won championships, and they got to the Cup Series and did nothing. You could argue that RCR as a whole in the Cup Series wasn't doing anything. But, like, Ty was with, I mean, the old 18 car, essentially. Like, he's in a good position. And it took him this long to win a race. And that's not really a knock on him. I'm not saying that he doesn't have any talent because of that. I guess my point is he had all, everything that you could need to win races, and it took him 130 some starts to do so.
I mean, it took Chase Elliott 100 starts before he got his first win.
Yeah,
I mean,
but he's not. I agree. Like, I see
yeah.
that, but he's also not contended for wins every week either. You know what I mean? Like, would you say he's the third of 4 Hendrick cars right now?
Right now, yeah, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like Ty is probably the number 2 Gibbs car behind Denny, and it's close.
I don't know if I'm ready to put him above Bell.
I'm not saying
No.
driver. I'm just saying car coming to the track every week.
Okay.
I think that 54 car is the second best Gibbs car when they unload, as far as speed goes. You disagree?
I didn't really pay that much attention
Okay,
at that point.
like
I guess.
I guess I feel like if if we go to Kansas this weekend, I think I would maybe put Chase Elliott up there this particular weekend a little higher. But on go to Texas. I'd probably pick him at Texas too. But you understand what I'm saying. Pick a track you're going to go to this weekend. I think, okay, out of the Hendrick cars, I think Larson's probably going to be the best. Then probably Byron, then Chase, and then whoever's in the 48, because they mix that up every so often now. In the Gibbs cars, I think Denny's going to be the best Gibbs car, and then probably Ty, and then the 20 and the 19 are probably going to be behind them, as far as how they've run this year. Like, if I think through that, like 2311, I think the 45 is going to be the better car, and the 23 is going to. I think the 23 will run closer to him this year than he has in years past. But I still think, obviously, the 45's won 4 races this year, so I think that he's going to be, one of the best guys when we go to the racetrack. He's my pick to win at Kansas. But this is kind of getting away from the whole topic of him being a decent driver. I guess I'm not really ready to put him in that category of the Hamlins, the Bells, the Reddicks, the Larsons. Like, I feel like those are the top tier drivers of our sport. And I don't know that I'm willing to say that Ty is that talented.
I wouldn't say that either.
But I think that because of the equipment that he's in, he could win as many races as those guys this year. So like that's the trade off, the ability of the car versus the ability of the driver. That's I'm not even gonna tell that story. It's just too far off topic. When Junior was telling TJ that he could have won in the old Chase Elliott Goodies Dash cars because their cars were so much better than everybody else's that even TJ could have won races in those cars, I think was the joke. But yeah, I don't like him as a person. There's no redeeming quality. Not Chase Elliott. Ty Gibbs. There's nothing about Ty that makes me go, oh, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Joey Logano fan. Joey's a rich kid too. Like, that just is the reality. He had money the whole way coming up through here, and stunk it up at Gibbs when he first showed up. He was very quiet and timid and easily pushed around. In fact, Ryan Newman legitimately pushed him around in the garage area. And is kind of the tail end of his run there with Gibbs. He got a little bit more aggressive, and then when he showed up at Penske, it was almost like Brad told him, like, this is how it's going to have to be. You're going to have to start being the bull in the china shop here. And he's won 3 championships since then. So my relatability to him is all coming as his attitude changed and was more like I don't think Joey Logano and I could sit down and have a conversation and relate to one another, but I like the way that he races. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah.
I do feel like I could probably relate to Ryan Blaney. I feel like we could be real world friends. You know what I mean? Like, actually enjoy hanging out with each other. But I guess there's nothing about Ty that makes me go, I'd like to hang out with that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. Do you see that the same or differently,
I
or
see what. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know. Just that whole taking the microphone away from Gibbs while he was getting interviewed and then dropping some swear words in that
Yeah,
whole thing. Like, dude, what do you? I don't know. I
it just feels like he has this arrogance that he can't be touched or like, do no wrong or something like that, and everything's not his fault or doing or something like that. But
yeah, and that's I don't know. There's just nothing about him. The only thing, as somebody that lost their dad, being that he went through that experience, is like the only thing I wouldn't make fun of or
yeah,
give him a hard time about or whatever. But all the rest of it, I would have no problem. And it just, I don't know. I can't stand the guy. Him and Austin Hill are the two people I cannot stand.
yeah,
Moving on to Ryan Blaney. I don't know what the actual numbers were. It's like in the first 7 races of the year, they've lost uh, 80 some spots on pit road, which is 30 more than the next worst guy.
yeah.
That's insane. It's a Penske pit crew, and that's how bad they are. Like I don't understand how they are that bad. And it's why that was largely what kept the race entertaining in the first half, 3/4 of the race was the fact that Blaney was the best car. He'd get up near the lead or get to the lead, and then they'd go down pit road and he'd lose all his spots and he'd have to drive back through the field
Yeah,
again. And I feel like we've said that several times this year. In fact, his win at Phoenix, and then Denny at Vegas, right?
yeah,
That I think that's correct. That those guys have faced some pit road adversity and then had to drive through it, and that's kind of what made a big point of entertainment in those races. I think the same was here for Blaney today. Do you think he was pretty disappointed? Like, I don't know that I've seen him that disappointed after. Like, he seemed to. When Joey beat him at Phoenix for that championship in 24, he was almost out of breath when he got out of the car. Just really you could tell he was very upset about everything that just took place. And this is the next closest thing I've seen to that, to where he was just like, it didn't seem like he even wanted to talk.
yeah. In the end, I don't know what. I think when you lead, know you have the fastest car and don't win, you would be frustrated. But
It almost seems like Blaney had a couple shots at him and he messed it up because there was twice it seemed like he was running him down and then just slipped in the middle of the corner.
yeah,
And I don't know if that's what he was kicking himself over, that he didn't get it quite right to complete the run at Ty or what. But
yeah, I thought for sure he was going to get him there. Um, I don't think if the race wouldn't have had that, if it wouldn't have went to the green white checker, I think Ty would have won it easier. But on that green white checker, after the first lap when Blaney was just inside him the
yeah,
whole time, I thought for sure Blaney was going to get him,
yeah,
and especially off of two because I think Blaney had a nose out in front off of two down the backstretch, and then Ty just hit a perfect 3 and 4 and drove off the corner. I think Blaney just really put it in the throttle. He was sideways coming
yeah.
off the track, but um, I think Blaney probably kicked himself for the run before the green white checker. Because I know there was one point he was in the middle of the corner and just lost it all.
Yeah.
And that was
He was
almost it.
catching him pretty hard, and then, like you just said,
Yeah.
the back end snapped on him a little bit, and he lost quite a bit, several car lengths. And then Kyle Busch sought his revenge on Riley Herbst at that
That's
point.
what it was. I couldn't remember what the caution was for, but
um,
spinning out one Monster car almost lost the other Monster car race.
wouldn't that have been awesome? Kyle Busch would have been my hero. Um, Kyle Larson ends up finishing third, best Hendrick car on the day. As a Hendrick fan, are you concerned about those guys at all?
Yeah.
Are you? Like, what's the panic? Like, do you have the panic button on the desk, or are you just got it out and you're looking at
I got it out and looking at it 'cause
it?
it's, I don't know. I thought for sure the last couple of weeks they were running better. And then this week, I mean, Larson's has one of his best tracks and overdriving equipment, I think. And, Larson, I think he even admitted in his interviews, well, I led the most laps because Blaney's pit crew lost some spots on
Yeah,
pit road. And it been, I don't know what Larson would have happened if he got back to more traffic because this was kind of a track position race. Once he was out front in clean air, he stayed up front. And I'm curious to know if he'd have got back in the pack, what would have happened to his car also.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, Hocevar's aligned with Hendrick, right? Spire is.
Yeah.
Do you think it's weird that he's outrunning some Hendrick cars, or do you just think that he had a cleaner race? Like Chase Elliott finished what, 22nd?
Yeah. Of course, he also, well, he spun out twice in that race. So
That's true.
I don't. They didn't show it on the Fox broadcast, but he spun out coming to the white flag.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay. So he was running better than that and lost some spots at the end.
Yeah, he was still a lap down at that point, but I think, let's see, he was, I think, probably ahead of Austin Dillon because I think Austin Dillon hit him when he spun that last time. He's probably the last car one lap down or something like that. So.
Obviously, Alex Bowman at his return finished dead last. Um,
That wasn't really doing of his own.
yeah,
He wasn't running the greatest either, but SVG spun out in front of all them guys and he was collected in it.
yeah, it was kind of weird because SVG did spin out, but then it was just John Hunter trying to avoid him,
Oh, that's right.
like run Bowman into the wall.
Well, when I first saw it, I thought, you know, John Hunter just that way he cranked it up to the wall and just like almost looked like he plowed into Bowman on purpose. But I think John Hunter missed a corner too going, and then SVG spun out, and John Hunter was already in the middle of the corner, and then just took it further to the wall.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't dissect
Yeah,
that too
because
bad.
it looked when I first saw it, it looked like John Hunter went from the bottom of the track to the top of the track. But when I look at it, watched it again from another view, it looked like John Hunter just like missed um, the bottom of the corner, whatever the compound they have there.
Oh, the PJ1.
PJ1, that's what it is. Looked like he missed that and got out of that, and it just shot up the track tight. And then when SVG spun out, he just kept going that direction. Bowman happened to be there.
Yeah, but yeah, obviously, who am I looking for? William Byron, just out to lunch all day. Um, Bunch of laps down, 5 maybe, and just a terrible day, and ended up back in 30th. Um,
I think the only thing that saved Elliott was that strategy in the first stage where they stayed out when everyone pitted in the middle of stage one, and it got him top 10 track position, and he just held on, held on. Had he that caution not come out and they didn't play that strategy, I think Elliott would could have been a couple laps down also.
yeah, that's possible. Yeah, I guess I can see why you got the panic button out. Um, it's just unfortunate at how hard it is to pass in these cars. Like that, it's really what it brings me back to. And I don't know, dirty air being such a bad deal. Like you're just trapped back there when you're that deep in the field, and
Yeah.
then short track like Martinsville or Bristol, the leader just comes up on you quick, and pretty soon you're another lap down, and then another lap down, and you just can't get going. Did anybody surprise you in the top 10 there? I mean, Hocevar wasn't really a surprise anymore.
Yeah.
Denny Priest, I kind of expected Priest to run well there. Josh Berry was a guy that had a good day going, and then, like we talked about, got wrecked by, I think it was Gregson. Um, I'm sure Noah listens to this every week, and so he might be mad if it wasn't him. But
Yeah, it was Gregson now that I thought back on it. I don't think it was I think Josh Berry checked up and Gregson hit him. I don't think it was like a Gregson aggressive move or anything like that, but
what do you think about the conversation of Bristol getting cut down to one date?
I don't know. I don't see it happening. I couldn't imagine not having two Bristols. To me, you just got to fix the car.
Yeah, it that's really what it comes down to, because people were arguing too. They were arguing about this on the teardown. They they talked about the attendance, and that was something we'll get to it in the truck race stuff. But it didn't look packed. Obviously, it was maybe half full, maybe a little better than half full. Um, I For whatever reason, this sticks in my head of Dale Jarrett's last Cup Series season, the year that he retired. I think it was '07, and they had in the stands at Bristol, they had "Thank You Dale" in brown and white letters for the UPS colors, that signs that fans held up, and I think it was in 1 and 2, they had like that whole end of the racetrack covered in that kind of signage. But you just looked around that place and it just what people track to the top of it. Like the whole thing was just filled. And the racing was so good at that point at every racetrack that you went to.
Yeah.
And people, I don't get when people, even Logano said on the Gluckcast this week that people kind of misremember how the past used to be. I don't think I'm doing that. It used to be so good in that time frame. And then where you saw the attendance start to fall off is when they brought in the COT because the racing wasn't as good. So people left. It's not a superstar thing. It's a race car thing. Like that's the biggest problem with this sport is the race car. And I feel like they killed it and then they almost had it back in the Gen 6. And then when they started to cut the horsepower out again, that kind of started us back down the hill. And then they introduced the next gen car, and it's been an uphill climb or battle. It's not been climbing uphill. It's just been a battle ever since then. That has largely been saved by Goodyear, who's getting all the grief.
Yeah. I know we keep harking back to the Gen 4 car and how much we miss it and stuff. I saw a clip of qualifying at, I think it was at Charlotte, and almost almost the front grandstands were just about full just to watch qualifying.
Yeah.
It was a clip of Jimmy Johnson, and that car was just screaming down the front straight. It was just so exciting to hear and watch that car just go around in circles, let alone a whole pack of cars doing it, you
Yeah.
know. And
Well, look, I know that iRacing is not real life.
yeah,
And the only iRacing experience that I've had has been when you brought it over
Yeah.
for me to try it on a laptop version. Like not even a full setup.
yeah,
And even that, when you put the physics of the Gen 4 up against the next gen car, me not being a race car driver, not even being an iRacing guy, it was like you could feel, you felt like the Gen 4 was going to drive out from under you. Like the car was going to leave you behind.
yeah,
And the next gen just felt like, okay, I'm okay, and now I'm not okay. Just that the razor's edge of stability was so narrow. I don't know. It just, I'm watching. I enjoy the sport. I like racing in general. I just, I hate this car.
yeah,
Like, I probably didn't properly hate the Gen 5, the COT car, enough at the time. Looking back on it, I'd have to look, but I don't think I have any diecast of a COT car because I just hated that car so much. And I watch old races of it, and even that car raced better than this one.
yeah,
And it's just wild how that works. And why are people in the stands? Oh, tracks need less dates. No, they don't. You need a better race car.
yeah,
That's what this comes down to. It's a better race car would fix so many of your problems. Well, you're not going to get a better race car because we've invested so. I don't care. Fix it.
yeah,
Like you're literally bleeding your investment dry because of the car. I don't care how much money you invested in it. Make it better.
yeah,
Fix it. Either fix this car or design a new one or whatever, but you got to move away from what we got. And I I actually took a screenshot of two tweets that were side by side in my timeline yesterday. One said, "This Bristol race sounds amazing on the radio. Is it?" And I didn't look at the comments. And then the tweet right underneath of it said, "We need Gen 8." So apparently the MRN guys were doing a great job at making the race sound good. And it wasn't, I don't mind the two different lanes. The way that I'd want Bristol to race is either one groove right on the bottom to where you do have to knock guys out of the way to pass them, or two lanes that are both racy.
yeah,
I'm good with either one of those. I don't want a top lane dominant thing. I don't want them to have to apply the PJ one. I just want either both lanes to be an option or it to be bottom lane dominant, one or the other. And I would be good. I could be okay with either one of those things. But uh, I guess that's the end of my rant. You got anything else you want to talk about from the Cup race?
I can't think of nothing else.
There was just a couple things I wanted to mention from the O'Reilly race. The Connor Zilic won the race. Woohoo! Don't care. I kind of, I don't know why. I just don't really care for Connor Zilic. I recognize his talent. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. I don't have anything against him. They don't do nothing for me. I was actually kind of rooting. That was kind of when I realized I have nobody to root for in the O'Reilly series anymore, because there's no Ford cars for me to care about. But
JJ Yeley ran a Ford.
Yeah, how'd he do?
26.
Yeah, that's probably his best career finish.
Uh,
Anyways, I was almost rooting for Allgaier there at the end more than anybody. Brent Cruz, I mean, I recognize his talent. He was in the wall a couple of times. Uh, if it seemed like if he could have had that under control and not drove the car into the fence, he might have had a shot at
yeah,
at Zilich. And Larson almost it was I think that restart. I can't remember exactly when I saw it, but like he went to the bottom and then he passed a car going to the bottom and then washed up in the middle of the corner and almost made it all the way back to the lead just by doing Kyle Larson things that those other
yeah,
guys couldn't do, and that was impressive. Those were kind of the two redeeming parts of that race to me. Other than that, I didn't really care for it as
yeah.
a whole. Which normally the O'Reilly race is the best one of the weekend, and I don't know that it really did that for me this weekend.
I don't know. I still think the O'Reilly cars race or look better, but I mean, it was Kyle Larson out front all race kind of will put a damper on things also. But um, as a Hendrick or as a junior motorsports fan or whatever, when you have four cars in the top five, it's hard not to be biased. But
Yeah,
even Corey Day was eighth, if you want to count that as like a fifth car. So
yeah, I think it is. In the truck race, it seemed like well, it's kind of the big moment of the year is Corey Heim. Um, he has two less starts than anybody else, and he was leading the Truck Series points coming into the weekend. Which we need to talk about getting rid of that rule that you got to start every race. Like if it's not the playoff era, who cares?
yeah,
Like if you're leading the points, you scored the most points, you should be crowned the champion at that point. Um, even if you didn't run every race, if you're that much more dominant. But Corey Heim leading the race made a pass. I don't remember who the driver was. Christian Eckes.
yeah,
Uh,
91, yeah,
he made a little bit of contact with Eckes to get by him. Heim says he didn't even hit him. He said he just packed air on him. I don't know. There wasn't like a great camera shot to tell you one way or the other. But if there was contact, it was minimal. Very much Bristol legal, in my opinion. And then Eckes went to cross him back up and hooked him into the fence, whether he meant to or not. I'm not
yeah,
saying that he did or didn't. To be that much not clear, like he hit him clear right in front of the tire. Like his left front fender was dented in front of his left front tire
okay, yeah,
when he hooked Heim. It's hard for me to believe that wasn't intentional, but
yeah. I fight back and forth. Like it really looked intentional in the beginning, and then the more I think about it, it was like, I don't know. I could see it. He was just trying to clear himself into the corner to get to his bumper again
yeah.
or pay the favor back that way. And Corey Haim says, "Nah, it wasn't intentional," or whatever in his interview. And I was like,
Do
"Is
you
he
think
just
Corey was just taking the high road there?
that's what I don't know." And so I'm back and forth on it. Um, I don't know what Corey Haim's entrance into the corner was like. Was Corey Haim trying to keep Eckes on the high side? Did he let off earlier than normal to keep
That's
that
a
bottom
good point
too?
because he
And
was way low.
yeah, so um,
I
I
I
don't think
guess
I can really make a judgment of what really happened.
yeah, it's hard for me to really know. And I guess my point being to that, I'm not calling for Eckes' suspension
Yeah,
as a result of that. It's not like the obvious Austin Hill over Eric Almirola at Indy, to where or the Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson or anything like that, to where definitely there should have been some sort of penalty there. I'm not saying that should have been the case after this truck race. It looked intentional to me. That there could have been
yeah.
outside factors to made it not, but I'm not concerned about it. I guess. Uh,
Corey Haim is still only 4 points out of the lead.
and I'm sure he'll win. I don't know how many truck races he's got on the schedule, but
Yeah,
I'm sure he'll win.
I'm not sure how because you still have to choose which series you're running points for. So I don't know what he'll choose because he's going to run. I think he's going to run in Cup this weekend at Kansas for 2311. So imagine you can switch where you put your points. So I think he can switch back to Cup points this weekend, and how that goes weekend to weekend will
Mm.
determine how his. Obviously, if the rules are this year, he won't be competing for a truck championship, but um, I don't think he's planning on running trucks full time anyways. It just happened to be he has
Yeah,
enough early on that puts him up there, but it's still pretty impressive that that's where he's at. But
it's almost like when Mark Martin and Eric Almirola were sharing that ride at DEI in the 8 car.
yeah,
8 or was it the 8? Yeah, I think it was the
I
8.
think so.
and Martin was leading the points going to Bristol that year.
Yeah.
And after they were about to go to Bristol, and he was scheduled to pass the ride off, and I was like, dude, just keep coming. You're leading the points. It's kind of that same type of situation. Christopher Bell wins the race for Homer Friesen Racing. That it's kind of funny that he outran Stewart in a secondary truck.
Yeah.
I just kind of speaks to how much there is a talent gap between Cup drivers and lower series. But that race didn't feel big at all. Like, there was nothing about the truck race that was like, dude, you just won a NASCAR National Series event. It felt like, I think streaming games get more attention than some of that did. And that's disappointing because it's Bristol. It is the truck series. I wish that it got a little more attention, but that's really all that I had from those races.
Yeah, other than FS1 sucks at broadcasting truck races and stuff too.
So, yeah, because I actually texted you and said that we should do a live stream of the race. Let the TV broadcast be on. Like, we don't have to show it, but just us doing the commentary. I honestly think that would be better. Jamie Little is a very likable person. I have no problem with her being a pit reporter. I have no problem with but she's terrible on the broadcast. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Just she doesn't seem like she even knows what's going on. And I'm sure that's a difficult task, and especially with having to come in and out of commercial and all that you have a lot of responsibility as the person in that role. I'm not arguing that, but she just is not very good at it. And I say that as somebody that likes her. Like, in general, I don't think she should be out of the sport. I don't think I think it's just criminal that people like Rick Allen and Alan Bestwick are not in the sport and she's doing the broadcast for the truck race.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just frustrating in that aspect of it, but I really do think we could do a better job, and I think that we should try it sometime. See how it goes. That one, like, there'll actually have to be some prep though, because I don't know half the guys in the truck series anymore. Yeah, because I don't watch that many truck races.
I just feel like sometimes I have the personality of a 2x4. So.
I agree with that. At least when the cameras are on.
Yeah.
But again, if you're, there's some guys like you're gonna say things like, "Oh, look here, see what I'm seeing here," and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that." So I think that would be. We don't have to both be climbing the walls, Yeah. But I'll handle that side of that side of things. Anything else from the Bristol race weekend?
I don't have anything else.
I don't either. I appreciate everybody that tunes in and watches us and cares about what our opinions are here in the garage area, and we'll make sure that we drop some more of those for you after our Kansas race weekend, where we'll be cheering on Tyler Reddick, right?
Oh no. I don't even remember who I picked there. Oh, Carson Hocevar, man.
Yeah, but like you said, Tyler Reddick, that's who we're cheering for. And we'll talk to everybody after Kansas.